Being a pick-me won't save you, and let me tell you why. Hi guys, welcome back to Ella Pastoral. If this is your first time ever coming upon this channel, welcome. Hi. On this channel, I typically talk about all of my favorite pieces of media, as well as talking about social issues. And today's video is going to discuss the topics of white feminism, pick-me-ism, and why being a pick-me won't save you from misogyny and the effects of patriarchy through three female characters who I feel like are the pinnacle of white feminism. Pick-me-ism is a certain type of behavior that individuals express in order to seek validation and acceptance by the patriarchy. Characters that I'm going to analyze today are Alicent Hightower from House of the Dragon, Serena Joy from The Handmaid's Tale, and Cassie Howard from Euphoria. So starting with Alicent Hightower. If you guys have been following my House of the Dragon series, you know that Alicent is one of my least favorite characters of the whole entire TV show. And let me tell you why. So starting all the way in season 1, we see that Alicent Hightower is a victim of her circumstances. She is best friends with the main character Rhaenyra Targaryen, and unlike Rhaenyra Targaryen, she does not have a lot of rights. Rhaenyra is the only heir to the whole entire Westerosi kingdom, and so she gets to do whatever she wants as she is the only heir to the kingdom. Alicent sees this and is incredibly jealous of all of the privileges that Rhaenyra has. Seeing as she is a woman in ye old Westerosi time, which is equivalent to medieval times in our timeline, Alicent Hightower does not have a lot of choices on what her life can look like. She is the daughter of Otto Hightower, meaning that she is the daughter of a second son. Second sons already don't have a lot of privileges in the Westerosi society as we know it, so Alicent's father uses Alicent as a pawn and tool in order to alleviate his status in their society. What this practically means is that Alicent is nothing but a broodmare to her father in order to alleviate his situation as the second son. And in the show, we literally see Otto telling his daughter, who is at this point a little teenager, to sneak into King Viserys' bedroom, seduce him in her mother's outfit in order to eventually become married to the king and eventually become the queen. This happens and Alicent is now officially the queen of Westeros. But even at this high seat, the literal highest seat any woman can become in their society, Alicent is extremely unhappy because she continues to play into the patriarchy. Alicent is a member of the Church of the Seven, which means in the show she is extremely religious. As we see with all of the women in our own timeline, extremely religious women play into the patriarchy at their own expense. For example, in the show's canon, we know for a fact that Alicent is very true to her husband Viserys Targaryen as of season 1, but Rhaenyra is not. Rhaenyra was forced to marry Sir Laenor Velaryon, who at this point of the show we know is gay, meaning that Rhaenyra is going to have a hard time procreating with a man who does not find her attractive, seeing as he likes men. And so due to their situation, Laenor and Rhaenyra decided that they were going to have an open relationship. That way both of them could be happy. So Rhaenyra consented to this relationship, Laenor consented to the relationship, and Rhaenyra's affair partner, Sir Harwin Strong, also consented to this relationship. All these three individuals are in a consenting, loving relationship, and the person who is extremely mad about this situation is Alicent Hightower. She feels like Rhaenyra should have suffered like she has suffered because of honor and duty, and she is mad that Rhaenyra does not suffer like her. Due to this incessant need to obey the patriarchy, Alicent Hightower and her father Otto Hightower eventually schemed to overthrow Rhaenyra Targaryen, first of her name, and steal her birthright in order to give it to Alicent's son, Aegon II. This causes a war in the Seven Kingdoms, all because Alicent Hightower fully believes that her son, who in the canon of the show, who is a rapist, would be a better king than Rhaenyra Targaryen. This is what a pick-me is. This is high-level pick-me-ism. This is being a pick-me to the highest extent, because not only does Alicent Hightower throw Rhaenyra Targaryen under the bus several times in order to practically make her seem like the better, more righteous woman, it never works. Example 1. After Rhaenyra gave birth to one of her kids, she started leaking breast milk from her shirt. And instead of maybe quietly hinting this to Rhaenyra, Alicent, in front of a group of men, decides to point this out to Rhaenyra, further bringing attention to it, embarrassing the princess at this point. Another example of Alicent's pick-me-ism is the fact that she always holds herself to be so virtuous and pious. But in the scene that we see where she's trying to defend her son Aemond against Rhaenyra's son Lucerys, she literally gets a knife bag, a knife, and decides to charge at the princess, who is still the crown princess at this time, and she faces no repercussions. This ruins her image in front of the men, because now they see Alicent how they see all other women, as irrational, as emotional, as unable to control herself. This will later super backfire on her. Another great example of Alicent's pick-me-ism is the fact that she aligns herself with misogynistic men. Like I said before, she strongly aligns herself with Alicent Hightower, her father, the man that decided to let her be a child bride to this decrepit old man as seen on the screen. Another misogynistic man that she aligns herself with is Laura Strong. Laura Strong is someone who is a sick weirdo in the show, but no matter what, he is still one of Alicent's highest supporters. Alicent Hightower continually dogs Rhaenyra for not being virtuous and poor and doing things in order to maintain her family's reputation, but in order to have power in her own kingdom and her own household, she has to engage in weird sexually depraved acts with Sir Laura Strong, as we can see by her showing his feet while he himself. But Rhaenyra is the bad guy. Alicent is doing the things Rhaenyra does, but Alicent has a lot of guilt and shame over the things she does, and she's just mad that Rhaenyra can't live a happy life while she suffers. As of me filming this video, there has been 2 episodes of House of the Dragon, and we really get to see how pick-me-ism hasn't saved Alicent from patriarchy. Ever since Alicent stole the throne and has given it to her good-for-nothing rapist of a son, Aegon II, Alicent still does not have the power that she would have hoped by being a pick-me and by feeding into the patriarchy's ideal image of what the patriarchy wanted her to do. Alicent has been given a seat on the small council of her son Aegon II, but even though she has put herself there through all of her scheming and pick-me-isms, they do not respect her. And the person who is helping in the constant disrespect of Alicent Hightower has to be her own father, Alicent Hightower. Otto continually tells her that she is stupid for trying to apologize to Rhaenyra and is trying to get Rhaenyra to submit, and this makes her look bad in front of the entire small council, which is filled with only men and her for now, and her 2 sons, Aegon and Aemon. Both of her sons, Aegon and Aemon, do not respect her, even though it was all thanks to Alicent's scheming and lying and pick-me-ism that got Aegon on the throne. They would not be in this position right now if their mother wasn't using her pick-me powers and the fact that she was a good wife to Viserys in order to let her be in this situation. In these 2 episodes, we later even see that all of Alicent's talk of being a virtuous woman is all nonsense, and that she is currently having an entanglement with Sir Criston Cole. This is the exact thing that she shamed Rhaenyra for doing, but now she's engaging in this act several times. Being a pick-me is not beneficial to you, because look at the way Alicent is engaging in these sexual activities that she literally shamed Rhaenyra for doing in season 1. Sir Criston Cole also hates Rhaenyra because he and her also had a sexual entanglement, but Rhaenyra is not like Alicent. Rhaenyra knows that she is the crown. Sir Criston Cole wanted Rhaenyra to give up her position as the crown princess to go sell oranges with him, and this one act caused him to hate her for his entire life, and Alicent has also had this man as her closest confidant. All of these misogynistic men that Alicent has surrounded herself with do not even protect or uphold her goals in mind, due to the fact that she was literally being a hypocrite and engaging in sexual activities with Sir Criston Cole, preventing him from doing his job because he sent guards away so they could have their torrid affair. Her grandson Jaehaerys Targaryen was murdered under their watch, and Helaena Targaryen was forever traumatized due to Alicent and Sir Criston Cole not doing their jobs as Queen Regent and as the head of the King's Guard. This goes to show you that being a pick-me won't save you, and it definitely won't save your children. Alicent herself is a child bride, and she knows that she herself is responsible for all of the suffering that Helaena is under. She didn't protect her daughter Helaena and forced her to marry her son, who was a rapist that she knew about, because she continually has to give young maids in the castle moon tea because she knows her son is a rapist. But she let her daughter face the same fate. Being a pick-me won't save you, and being a pick-me won't save your daughters. We can only wait to see what happens to Alicent Hightower as the season progresses. But like I said, all of Alicent's pick-me-isms are finally coming home to roost. Now let's move on to the next character. Another character who really exemplifies white feminism and pick-me-ism most definitely has to be the character of Serena Joy. Serena Joy definitely reminds me of Alicent and the way she tramples over the rights of other women and degrades other women all so she can be elevated in the patriarchy. The story of The Handmaid's Tale practically asks us as the audience the question, what would life be if an extreme radical Christian group took over the United States and made it a living hell for women? Low-key, it's giving our future in the next 20 years, but let's focus on this fantastical apocalyptic version of the United States. I have read the book and I have also watched the TV show, and so there are a lot of things that I want to discuss in terms of Serena Joy. Just for the sake of this video, I am going to talk about the show because I feel like most of us watch the show, but let's just get into it. Starting before the United States was taken over and eventually turned into the country known as Gilead, Serena Joy was a girl boss figure in the United States, and she was married to her husband. She spouted a lot of radical, nonsensical talking points in order to put down women, saying that women who choose to not have children are the worst type of people. She is practically the perfect image of a Republican wife that we see in our own day and age. She was just going around talking a lot of pro-life radical talking points that we see now, right? And so due to this fact that she was selling books, going on talking tours, doing all this and that, she and her husband radicalized a lot of Americans. And this is how the United States got taken over and became the government of Gilead. When the government of Gilead took over, Serena Joy was obviously happy, seeing as this is what she wanted, but she did not realize that being a pick-me and feeding into all of these anti-woman talking points would eventually be her downfall. In her flashback backstory, we eventually learned that she got shot, which caused her to eventually be infertile due to the injury that she sustained, and this immediately caused her to lose value in the patriarchy's eyes. But due to the fact that at this time she aligned herself with a very prominent member of the Gilead faction, she was able to still maintain her high position as a wife of one of the commanders. And this is what the benefit of being a pick-me is. It will for the moment give you some type of leverage in the patriarchal society because she is a wife. She isn't a Martha and she isn't a handmaid. She is a wife all because she submitted to her husband and also helped him spew the nonsense of anti-woman sentiments. But we see being a pick-me is not the sunshine and rainbows that pick-me's like Serena Joy and women like her portray. In the later seasons, we eventually see the commander gets like poisoned or put in a coma. To be honest, it's been a long time since I watched the show, but the commander who is married to Serena Joy gets incapacitated in some type of way. The commander still has to do his job, but seeing as he's incapacitated, he can't. And her position as his wife depends on the fact that he is able to do his job. Due to the fact that they were married and she knows this man so well, she is able to forge his signatures and help him do his job without the capital of Gilead knowing. Eventually, the commander is able to awaken from his coma. Serena Joy actually expects her husband to respect her and to be proud of her for maintaining the household while he is incapacitated. But no, obviously not. You cannot expect anything from a system that wants to put you down, and your husband is no different. As soon as he awakens from his comatose slumber, he decides to chop off one of her fingers in order to punish her for having the audacity to step out of her assigned role as a silent voice that obeys everything that she does. And that is the dangers of being a pick-me. And there was another moment in the show that really let me know that being a pick-me will never save you from the patriarchy, and that is when one of the Mexican ambassadors from Mexico comes all the way to the United States, and Serena Joy with her charisma is trying to practically say that life in Gilead is not that bad. And the ambassador has to look at her like, wow, you're saying that life in Gilead is so amazing when your world-renowned books are not even allowed to be read by you yourself who wrote them or other women? And Serena Joy was so shocked into silence. And I had to drop the show because I felt like the main character June was so annoying and I couldn't stand her either. Serena Joy plays such a role in building the system that is so anti-woman, and if she hadn't been shot and she was able to naturally give birth to a child for her husband, and God forbid that child was a girl, her daughter would have been raised up to be a future wife, a future victim of this society, continuing in the cycles of oppression that we see. I think I eventually watched like an ending explained because I wanted to see what eventually happened with the show, but even June's own daughter, who refused to go back with her mother because of her brainwashing, is literally being bred and is being groomed to be a child bride. And I really think about that. Pick-me's will eventually have children who feed into their pick-me-ism. Being a pick-me will not save you. The last and final person who I really want to talk about in terms of pick-me-ism is someone that you guys are probably way more familiar with, and that has to be Cassie Howard. Unlike the two previous women that I mentioned, Cassie Howard is a young pick-me. She is a pick-me of our generation, and I just feel like Cassie is one of the dangerous types of pick-me's because of the fact that she is able to do a switch up. In terms of Alicent Hightower and in terms of Serena Joy, they kind of have that motherly, maternal, older woman type of pick-me-ism that we can easily spot. Those women are what we in the African community would call aunties. The aunties who you know there's no saving them and they just have so many misogynistic takes. But Cassie is a snake in the grass. She is a wolf in sheep's clothing. She is a pick-me. She is someone who will set you up. And that's why I want to talk about Cassie Howard. She is a pick-me in your friend group. You know a Cassie. You know a Cassie.
One thing about pick-me's is that I am a bit too knowledgeable on it because I am someone who has analyzed most of Miraculous Ladybug, and that series is Pick-Me Nation. One thing regarding Sam Levinson is that he's always at the crime scene for all things misogyny. He does not do a good job of telling stories about women and teenage girls, especially if they are of color. Let's just focus on the white one today. Cassie became a very unlikable character because of some choices she made in the second season of the series. In season 1, we saw a bit of her male-centered nature because every time we saw her, she was worked up over a guy. She got in a fight with her boyfriend, she ended up cheating on him with another guy, and then masturbated in front of that same guy on a carousel ride in public. Sam, why? Anyways, Cassie is always doing something for male attention, which is why she could not handle being single when her and her boyfriend broke up. Bitch, get up. What explains this behavior is the horrible relationship she has with her father, as pick-me's are known for having daddy issues, which is not their fault. That is their father's fault. While Cassie has always been a bit of a pick-me, her becoming unlikable didn't start until season 2 when she slept with her best friend's on and off again boyfriend. She didn't sleep with him once, she didn't sleep with him twice, she slept with him numerous times. It's that bad. My sympathy only goes so far for her when she did that. Not only because it's wrong to mess with your best friend's ex, especially if they had only been broken up for weeks, but also she was fully aware of the horrible things that he had done to her. And yes, while plenty of us don't fucking like her because of that, we also gotta acknowledge that she's unlikable because she isn't well written. Cassie showed no kind of interest in Nate in season 1, so for her to be all over him in season 2 made absolutely no sense, and it made Euphoria progressively worse than it already was. Cassie had a potential. With the way season 2 of Euphoria ended and knowing that season 3 of the series is doing a 5-year time jump, which means Cassie will be in her early 20s, knowing how Sam Levinson writes women, her male-centered behavior might get worse and more unbearable to watch.
So in terms of Cassie's pick-me-ism, we see that Cassie has a tendency to choose men over women from a young age, and this comes from the fact that her dad is a drug addict. And I think maybe season 1 or season 2, we literally see that Cassie's dad snuck into their house using Cassie and literally stole like all of these expensive china plates from their house. Cassie never told her mom that it was their dad that did this, and this one action literally sets the stage of Cassie's whole relationship with men and the patriarchy from now on, because in her one act of literally choosing her father over her family members that decided to stay and not abandon her, Cassie will forever choose men over women, even if this puts her life at danger. So we can see that Cassie and Maddie, her best friend, have literally been close since they were children, right? But this does not matter to Cassie because Cassie is a pick-me. Cassie will always choose men over women. Season 1, we see Maddie is in a very toxic, abusive relationship that's on and off with her boyfriend Nate. Nate is like the dream guy, He is the school quarterback, and this is the reason why Maddie is with him. She is the star cheerleader and he is the star quarterback. He is literally the idealized version of a man in the patriarchy, and this is why Maddie is with him. At this time, Cassie is with a man of her own, but I feel like from the jump, Cassie has always wanted to be Maddie, and that's why she dresses like her, Loki acts like her. And in season 2, we really clock that tea because Shawty starts to literally be like Maddie, and it's literally a mess. So during one of Maddie and Nate's off breaks, Cassie decides that it's perfectly okay to get with Nate, knowing that her best friend is always in an on and off relationship with this man, and that this man beat her so bad that she was bruised. But because of the fact that she's a pick-me and she just needs some type of random male attention, and the fact she wants to be Maddie on the high key, she decides to sleep with Nate. It's so bad that she has to hide in the bathroom like a scum of the earth or some detangled hair at the bottom of the tub because she is so embarrassed of her pick-me-ism that she does not know what to do with herself. Eventually, Rue exposes this fact to everybody because she's like, aren't you sleeping with your best friend's man? And she's like, oh my gosh, like they were broken up. And this just goes to show you the corrupt morals of Cassie Howard. There were so many white women at the time of season 2 being premiered that tried to defend Cassie's relationship with Nate. And this is what I talk about when it comes to white women and feminism. There's no way that you can go take your best friend's man, even if they were on an off period. Because if you were a true friend and if you were a true girl's girl, you would never even think of doing some ish like that. And I get it. Maybe if Cassie was just a viper in the sand and never cared for Maddie, it would be okay. But Cassie and Maddie were literally best of friends, and she even comforted Maddie when she was getting abused by Nate, only to then put herself in such a position. And to make Cassie an even worse pick-me in my mind is the fact that Nate was practically shaming her for doing the most and being annoying. And Cassie decided that this was the perfect time to go on her whole annoying monologue about how she, unlike Maddie, will submit to him, will let him choose what she wears, what she eats, how she breathes. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of pick-me's. Pick-me's like this are especially dangerous because you see them as your friend. You give them the promise of sisterhood, of community, and they go behind your back and take your man, or even worse, do something to you that is unimaginable. I'm so glad that this happened while they were young, because what would have happened to Maddie if they would have continued their friendship into the college years? I'm glad that Maddie was able to clock her tea at this young age and cut her out of her life now before all of this happened, because I know women who are like Cassie in my real life, and they are some of the most dangerous people. In my own undergraduate experience, me and my friend, we knew this one girl, right? And she said some stuff that made us look at her sideways, but we gave her the benefit of the doubt. And we knew how obsessive she was with men, but we were like, you just can't cut off all women who are obsessed with men. But I'm saying this right now, it's a safety thing. You really got to, because I eventually had to go to nursing school, so I wasn't able to stay in my undergraduate school. But bro, the girl who I'm talking about literally set up my friend to get SA by continually inviting her around these groups of men that were trying to get her drunk for that reason. And that is why I tell you, girls who are pick-me's and girls like Cassie Howard don't deserve sisterhood, and they deserve to be called out in every respect of the word. But when I tell you, there were literally white women making think pieces about how Cassie isn't the bad guy and how we should give Cassie grace, I had to be like, these women will kill you. Women who think like this will have you dead. Women like Cassie will have you murdered. People who agree with Cassie and think Cassie isn't that bad of a person will have you left on the streets somewhere begging for God to just put you out of your misery. And that is why I am so against being a pick-me as well as supporting pick-me. Pick-me women are extremely dangerous, and that is why I will always speak up against pick-me-ism, because literally it does not benefit anyone other than the person. And in several cases, like how I mentioned in this video, it doesn't even benefit them. And I just feel like the way my life is aligned, I cannot support pick-me's because they will have you murdered, and they just sound stupid. Anyway, free Palestine, free the people in Congo, free the people in Haiti. Jesus, we're always in their business. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to be leaving some donation links in the comment section of my video because I feel like I haven't used this platform enough to speak up all of the stuff that's going on in like Gaza and the Congo. And I'm going to be using the proceeds of this video to donate because I feel like that's the least I can do, especially if I'm talking about white feminism and how white feminism does not benefit anybody. And yeah, if you guys like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more videos like this from me, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.